Hey, what's up, guys? It's Nonstop Steph, and today I want to go ahead and give you guys my breakdown on why I believe so far this offseason has been one of the greatest ones we've seen in recent years. And there's still a lot of time left. We haven't even really hit free agency. There's a lot of moves to be made, a lot that will continue to keep happening. And quite frankly, at this point, there's a lot of teams who are gunning for championship because, parity is alive and well right now in the NBA. There's a lot of teams who aren't just rolling over and accepting that, hey, we can't compete right now and we'll have to try again later. Like back in the day during the KD Warriors area, right? During that time, you didn't see competitiveness and people gunning for it the way that you're seeing it right now. You got to see a couple teams. But quite frankly, this year, so far from what we've seen, there's a lot of teams trying to do some stuff here, and they are altering the futures of their franchises solely to compete now. They're not waiting anymore. They're going for it now, whether it be the Warriors and what they're trying to do, whether it be the Lakers and what they're trying to do, whether it be the Suns and what they're trying to do, whether it be the Celtics and what they're trying to do, the Bucks and what they're trying to do. There's a lot of teams that we can name who are all trying to be competitive here in this upcoming season, because although, yes, there's, the Nuggets would rightfully so be the favorites going in, that does not mean they cannot be dethroned. And I see a lot of teams who believe they have an honest and capable chance of being able to do this. So let's look at what's actually happened so far. So first and foremost, I just want to go over some of the things that we have seen, right? I've already done a couple of videos on some of these trades, but I mean, the fact that the whole Bradley Beal move, that is already just insane, and how that reshapes what the Suns look like and what the future of the NBA might look like, depending on how competitive they might be. We don't know what's going to happen with DeAndre Ayton, whether they're going to keep him or try to flip him. I'm more on the lines of keep him. I think he's going to be a great piece for that team if they can keep him. Obviously, if there's a trade out there that makes more sense, then of course go for it. But I just don't think that the value is going to be there for him. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't get traded right now. During the offseason. They'll test it out, see how it goes throughout the regular season, and by the trade deadline, if they don't like it, then they'll make the move, right? Obviously, they still have a lot of roster needs, but nonetheless, to me, that's already just a crazy start to the free agency. Then you've got the Kristaps Porzingis trade and the Celtics, who have been super, super competitive, giving up Marcus Smart. I think that, again, just another big trade, big splash. We could talk about what Kristaps Porzingis could and possibly do for this Celtics organization, but honestly, like I said, there's already a video breakdown on that. I didn't make a video on the John Collins one because, to be honest, I didn't think that it would be a very quick video, and that was just really a salary dump thing. But that's really what I think this free agency is going to have going on more than any others. Is in past years there wasn't this whole fear of the second apron, right? That wasn't something that was going to handcuff teams. Yes, there were always salary caps and luxury tax and all those good things, but the second apron right now, knowing that's going to be coming up in the next couple of years, really puts a halt on moves that might have been made. And I think it's already feeding into a lot of the free agency decisions that we've seen. Obviously, we've seen the Jordan Poole move, getting away from the Warriors. I think that has a lot to do with business. Again, I broke down that trade on another video and my opinion on that. But again, that just has a lot to do with salary. His contract would have gone on much longer than what they'll have Chris Paul for on the books. Whether they re-sign Chris Paul after this contract is, to be seen. But as far as we know right now, they are making moves to be able to keep this team together as the core, primarily, of course, Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. Which brings me to the players that we should be watching for this upcoming free agency now that it's really about to get started. And let's start with Draymond Green, right? So, I mean, that's already crazy enough that he has made it very clear that he is going to actually, explore his options. Now, I do personally believe that he's going to stay, but when you have a player of his caliber, granted, yes, we know that he's older and this might be his last big contract that he'll see. It's to no surprise that a player of his caliber, Defensive Player of the Year, the vision that he shows, this is something that people are going to want, even though he probably won't make them that much better. But truthfully, the future of the Warriors organization is on the line right now. As much as people may not want to admit it, that pairing between what he and Stephen Curry have been for the longest time, this is on the line in this offseason, and I think that is another huge domino. So we've talked about the Celtics, how big this offseason was for them, trying to get back to the finals and trying to win with their young core. We're talking about the Warriors, where they are right now, and how this free agency might really determine the future of their organization at all, just period. I mean, Stephen Curry's entire legacy has been built around what they've been able to accomplish as a dynasty, as a core with him, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and that's at the line right now. Briefly talked about the Atlanta Hawks and how, this team, they really want to try to be competitive right now with Trae Young, and to do that, they need to have the money available to sign players that are going to really make a difference for their future. And right now, they didn't view John Collins as that guy. Whatever they decide to do with DeJounte Murray here soon, I don't know. But the main point is they're freeing up cap space so that way they've got money aside to make a big splash when that player or players become available. Then you've got guys like Kyrie Irving, right? Kyrie Irving possibly will be leaving the Mavs, and there's good indication that he'll just resign and stay there. But again, another team whose future is quite frankly on the line here. I've already made a whole video talking about why I think the Mavs will be losing Luka Doncic, and I believe that if he was to lose Kyrie Irving, if the Mavs were to lose Kyrie Irving, I wouldn't blame him for eventually very soon getting tired and be like, dude, you guys can't surround me with talent, and I can't keep wasting my years here with you guys. And he may end up asking for a trade. 4 teams whose entire futures have changed already here before free agency really has kicked off. Don't even get me started with all the Damian Lillard trades. Who knows if something's going to happen there, but after the draft, all the news surrounding whether or not he will actually request a trade, I think that's already another big change for that future of that organization, and I think that only would lead me to talk about Jeremy Grant as well. Great player, great 3-and-D player who has shown that he has the talent to be, big on these teams. He'll probably never be a number 1 option for another team like he was for the Pistons that one year. But nonetheless, he, again, has shown us just literally how good he actually is. I think that if you really were to think about it, right, he's a 40% three-point shooter, nearly 50% on field goals, averaging 20 points. And that's as backing up Damian Lillard. That's without being nearly as aggressive as he might have been in the past. So it could end up being, hopefully, a part of the Trailblazers' future if they do decide to keep Dame. However, if they do trade away Dame, I don't see any value in re-signing Jeremy Grant, because at that point, you're just putting out money that doesn't need to be put. And I think I could see a player like him being utilized much better on another contending team. I mean, shoot, if I was the Mavs, I'd do everything I can get him, because he is someone who could space the floor for Luka. He's someone who could cut threat, lob threat, however you want to say, very athletic there on the outside. I mean, this is just someone who, in my opinion, I can go on and on, but Jeremy Grant is someone who should be sought after this free agency. Probably one of the biggest names here this free agency is Fred VanVleet. I mean, again, someone who contributed highly to the championship back in 2019 with the Raptors. Again, another great shooter, point guard who's going to be, again, highly sought after if you ask me. He is up and coming for possibly a max contract. Probably the rumors right now are leaning towards the Rockets because they've got the most money, most cap space to be able to throw at somebody. So we might see Fred VanVleet head his way over there, but who knows what's going to happen. One of the biggest dominoes to fall today, as I was earlier today before making this recording, is James Harden now being in trade discussions with possibly the Clippers along with the Knicks. I mean, that, again, changing the entire dynamic along the lines of the 76ers for this upcoming season, and possibly will Joel Embiid want out if this trade that they do with James Harden doesn't bring them back the players that they would need to stay competitive. He's not going to request a trade this year, I don't expect, but who knows what's going to happen in the next year. So again, this free agency's got so much on the line. Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez, who have both been huge parts of the Milwaukee Bucks past success. Again, number 1 seed this past year. Very much thankfully to Brook Lopez, probably one of the most underrated centers in the league today, not just because of how his defensive threat and obviously the 3-and-D, he can shoot it from the outside, stretching the floor, leaving open lanes for guys like Giannis to be able to drive. Chris Middleton's effectiveness, I mean, throughout his time, right now he's had a lot of more questionable health in the recent years, missed a lot of time and all that, but it is what it is. I mean, I don't expect for him to every year be having these, health concerns, because it hasn't been. I think that, it's a little bit overstated how unhealthy he has been. The main thing is obviously his play has fallen, but not just through, oh man, he's just breaking down. I think that he's got still a couple more good years in him, so I want to see him return to the Bucks. I don't know that they're going to want to be able to do that, but if I'm Giannis, again, the entire future of this organization, while he is making it clear in press conferences, clear in interviews that he's not 100% sold on being a Buck forever, right? So again, another entire franchise who is all in the wraps for this upcoming free agency. Again, then you could talk about the Lakers. What they're going to do with D'Angelo Russell, what they're going to do with the point guard position, period. Are they going to make a move at Kyrie? It's not sounding like they're going to do that. Now that James Harden might be available in a trade, are they going to try to push for that? I don't think they have the assets for it. But again, is that something they're going to look to do? Austin Reeves now is a restricted free agency. So the Lakers have the opportunity to match any offer that's put out to him. And I promise you, with the way that he played this past season, especially there in the playoffs, someone's going to at least do an offer that is going to make the Lakers have to pay him more than they really wanted to. There's a lot of players in the free agency on the Lakers right now that I'm not going to really go into right now. But again, then you can go into the Clippers and what they want to do. Right now, they've got to make a move. They can't just stay put. Another franchise whose entire future might be on the line here coming up real soon. I didn't mention this earlier when we spoke about the Wizards trading away KP, but Kyle Kuzma, another player who balled out, had his best season, averaging over 20 points. He probably won't be the number one option on whatever team he goes to next, but someone's going to look for a guy like that. So he is someone you can add and become more competitive without a doubt, no question about it. So that's another player to be on the lookout. Cameron Johnson coming out of Brooklyn right now. He's a great 3-and-D player. What he did with the Suns only made his value just skyrocket. Then gets traded to Brooklyn, and he just keeps it up. Yes, he's not Mikal Bridges. I think that's going to be, his team nonetheless for the Nets. But Cam Johnson is someone who's going to, again, get demanded. He can really demand a bag. I mean, I shouldn't use the word demand, but if we're being honest, these are the type of players that many teams are seeking after. 3-and-D, stretch the floor, open it up, 40% three-point shooter. He's going to knock them down. He plays hard, and he's not someone who's like, oh man, I need to be in the game for 40 minutes. I mean, he is comfortably playing a lot lower minutes than he probably deserves, but he's effective in the minutes that he's given. So another great player. Harrison Barnes is another player who, we've got question marks around, because where is he going to go? He might just stay put. I'll be honest, if I was the Kings, I would look to pursue somebody like Kyle Kuzma, because I think Kyle Kuzma will probably play better than Harrison Barnes might. But again, point being is that's just another player who was on a very successful franchise this past season, and they are looking to only get better. So what they do there, I don't know. Bruce Brown over there on the Nuggets. I mean, again, big part of that team. You can talk about Russell Westbrook with the Clippers and his effectiveness. Obviously, they're not looking to pay him out too much money because, obviously his value doesn't demand that much money. But that's another player who knows where he's going to do. He might end up on the Heat, like I've heard. And if he goes to the Heat, how that might really honestly elevate their game, because he played great for the Clippers there in the playoffs. I've named a whole lot of players. I didn't talk about Rui Hachimura. I haven't talked about everybody that I really plan on talking about beforehand. But the main point that I already emphasized many times throughout this video is that there are numerous teams who are preparing to have to change their organization and their futures solely based upon the fact that this league is so much more competitive. The parity is there. This is not the time that there's a lot of teams who have a true shot at things if a couple dominoes fall in their direction. So there's numerous teams looking to make a splash, numerous teams who are going to be involved in this market. A lot of these players are going to try to stay put, but just with the trades that we have seen and the moves that we know are coming up, man, yeah, this is the time to be an NBA fan and be just. The next couple weeks are about to be wild. I mean, I can't even predict where everybody's going to go. There's no way anybody can, and I'm going to try my best to cover as much moves as possible here on the channel. Of course, like and subscribe. I appreciate you guys for following in, listening on this one. This one was just kind of just off the top, just spitballing some of the moves that I can think of, and just how great this offseason is really panning out to be, because, man, we've got a lot of moves to still keep on coming.